You may be asking yourself, Luke, where the fuck have you been? I know I've been missing lately, but I haven't been without work. I come from Argentina, small town, about 19,000 people. At the age of 17, I dropped out of high school. I failed every year. Every year I would go to summer school. I would say, fuck it. My parents didn't, I went to English school, Spanish school. My parents were like, Luke, like, you're not obeying, you're not following the rules. I said, fuck it. I don't want any of this stuff. I want to be rich. I want to do my own thing. I don't want people to bother me. At the age of 17, I had an argument with my parents. Remember, I live in a small farm town with 17,000 people. English is not my first language. I'm just a genius. So I know how to speak different languages extremely well. I'm in the process of learning Italian. So we'll see in a few months how that pans out. But my worldview comes from a place of me not having anything and knowing the potential to have everything. And most people lack the self-belief in understanding that they are truly in control of their life. And I preach this very often, that the life that you have is the life that you choose. I could have easily chosen to sell water bottles or those big like water jugs that they have in third world countries because they don't have like clean water that you can, go buy. So you have to buy the big things that they send to your house. That was what one of my best friends is doing right now. He has 4 kids. He's a loser. And that was the decisions that he chose to make. So I was like, how do I make the right decisions? And the playbook is very easy because the playbook dictates that there are rules to success. These rules are non-avoidable, they're universal, and they are applied across the board. And the first rules have a goal, right? Without a goal, you don't know where you're going, you don't know where you're headed. There's a high likelihood that you're going to fail. Whether you have a convoy, whether it's a ship going to the ocean, if you know your destination, where you want to go, it's easier than if you don't. And the truth is, most people walk around in life like accidents. They don't know why they do what they do. If I was to go to your local town, if I was to go to your local town, back home, and I was to ask people, what is your goal? 99 out of 100 people don't have one. And my goal was, I need to get out of here. That was my first goal. So what I did was I contacted my uncle. My uncle was a pilot. So at the age of 17, with $200 in a suitcase, I asked my uncle to get me a flight to New York. Of course, that's all, New York, Florida, those are like the popular places you just go. And I sat in the flight attendant seat, right? So where the flight attendants sit, that's where I sat. And like the people in first class looked at me like, who the fuck is this kid? Like, what is he doing? Like, this is weird, right? So I sat there all embarrassed and I landed in New York and I started working regular jobs. I worked in the kitchen, I was washing toilets, I did door-to-door sales, I slept in my car. My grandmother blessed me. She gave me a little $4,000 Buick, that my dream car. I'll probably buy one and just pimp around in Miami in that thing. We got to bring back our broke cars. You know what I mean, Mo? We have to bring back the cars when we were broke. Like, we got to bring back those cars, bro, and just flex on the brokies with those cars, with the cars that were the come up cars. So I would sleep in my car, door-to-door sales, would work 2-3 jobs. Then my car broke down. I had a car accident. I was drifting. It was so dumb. I had a car accident, so I had to take public transport. And that was the worst time in my life. I was about 19, 20 at that time. And I was working 3 jobs. The first job, I was working waiting tables at a restaurant, a Spanish restaurant. I got in because, of course, I speak Spanish. The second one, I was working as an intern at the Washington Post. That was gay. It was a terrible job. Excuse me. I know it's politically correct, guys. I apologize. It's okay. And then the third job was I was just trying to figure out how to make money. And then this was the year, I think 2016 or something like that. And a fellow server of mine was like, oh, I'm trading. Oh, I make like $10,000 a month trading, all this stuff, right? This was pre-bull market, pre-anything, giving you the short story. And I was like, okay, cool. And then he mentioned one word. It said Bitcoin. Have you heard of Bitcoin? And I'm like, no, what is it? And I remember being at like where the servers kind of stand and you kind of have like your server area and they kind of all congregate and you have your point of sales and all that shit. And he showed it to me and it was $400. Like, damn, that's expensive. And Tesla at the time was like 250 or 200, something like that. So I was like, okay, let me get a Robinhood account before Robinhood was popular. I bought like a ton of stock trading books. I read them on my way to work. I was in the metro I was in the bus for about an hour and a half. Then I took the metro 30 minutes. I was living in Washington, DC at that time. So it was a really long commute from really far back in Arlington. And I would just consume that content. As I would make my money in the tips, right? I would get that cash that same day. I would go to Wells Fargo, I would deposit it. And I would buy stuff. So that same day, the money that I made, I would deposit. And it was deposited into 2 things. One, it was Bitcoin. And then the second thing was deposited was my ad spend for my e-commerce, because I was learning e-commerce. So the tip that I would make that day didn't go to anything except those 2 things. It was investing, right? I was buying Bitcoin. I didn't know what the fuck it was. I was just like, okay, like I'm just gonna buy it, whatever, like let me figure it out. And then the ad spend that we had, it was me and my brother, the ad spend that we had for the next day was the tips that we would make the day before. So we would run like our little e-commerce products, all that stuff. That was our come up. And then 2017 was the first bull run. And then that first bull run, I learned something. Never listen to the majority of people because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And I was the one that listened to the majority, and I 30x'd my portfolio at that time. I think it was worth like 300,000. Remember, I'm like broke, right? I'm broke. And it goes up to 300,000. I pull out a loan. I remember I go to Wells Fargo. I'm excited. This is at the top of the bull run, right? When XRP was $3.50. And I get a loan for $15,000. I put it in. A week later, boom, everything tanks. I lose everything. I'm left with $1,000. I'm like, fuck, okay, what do I do now? That's my portfolio. I'm making e-commerce money. I'm doing this thing where I was like, bro, what did I learn? And what I realized is most people focus on the mistake instead of focusing on the lesson. And I figured out, okay, what are the lessons that I learned? What are the things that I need to take so that the next time this happens, because it's inevitable that it was going to happen again. And the reason I knew it was inevitable because it was the power of social media that was going to push this to the new generation. And I was right. So for the next 2 years, I did multiple 8 figures in e-commerce. Shout out to Steve and Evan Tan. They really inspired me. We're now business partners in Capital Club. Now the sensei and the mentor have kind of united for the global takeover. And in 2020, I put my entire net worth into crypto. Every single dollar that I had, I put into crypto in 2020. This was pre-bull run. Everybody was like, no, dude, this is a terrible idea. This was when the entire thing was collapsing. I remember I was smoking a joint. I don't no longer smoke. Shout out to Mo. Mo's a straight arrow dude. I like him for that. I appreciate that. I appreciate the hustle, and I appreciate the steady clear-mindedness. And it's a challenge for myself, by the way, for everybody looking, is that the serious killers in life are the small killers in life. The things in life are the things that pull small advantages away, right? The small advantages that you have with your competitors, whether it's weed, whether it's bad food, all these things, right? So shout out to Mo for that. But back to my point, 2020, I put my entire net worth into crypto. People tell me I'm crazy. I'm playing Call of Duty, and Cardano, for example, hits a penny, right? The entire thing tanks. I put 10 grand into Cardano, put another $10,000 daily into Ethereum when Ethereum's $80, $90. You can go to my highlights at Luke Belmar on Instagram. It's all recorded. And then I'm like, okay, remember in 2017, I was buying BNB at $2, right? This was Binance. I was like, Binance is amazing. I had talked to CZ on Clubhouse a little bit before I got banned on that platform, obviously. I got banned twice. And then I was like, okay, I need to bet on winners. I need to bet not on products, but I need to bet on winning people. So, by the way, I have the Pancake Swap tattoo tatted right here on my neck because I put my entire net worth into a token called Pancake Swap. I was the number 10 holder of Pancake Swap in the world at a sub $30 million market cap, and it ended up going to $2.5 billion. Shout out Safe Moon and the whole DeFi degenerate community. You guys made me wealthy, so I appreciate that. And then the second biggest play that I had was the competitor of Pancake Swap known as Bake. And I remember calling Luca Nets, I remember calling Steve Tan when it was sitting at an $8 million market cap. And in fact, I was with Luca. We rented an Airbnb for a week because we were working on an ecom project. It was $8 million. I said, Luca, you need to put 50, 60 grand, 100 grand into this shit. Like, this shit's going to go. It's like, no, whatever. Long story short, I put $50,000 into Bake at $8 million market cap, and it goes to 1.6 billion. So I literally got into a unicorn level VC investment play because I understood the trend of the future. I was aware, and I didn't focus on my past mistakes, but I focused on the lessons that those mistakes taught me. And during the bear market, during the season where people were complaining, they were trying to figure out how to gamble, how to make money, I knew I had my goal. I had my eye on the mission. I knew where I was going, and I was consistent. I was steady. I wasn't perfect, but I was consistent. I was steady, and because I knew my destination. And the big takeaway for me, and this is kind of how I'm going to polish and continue refining, whether it's Capital Club or other endeavors in life, or even personal development, whether it's your physique, whether it's your health, you need to know where you want to go. You have to know where you want to go. And if you don't know where you're going to go, just stop, dude. Just like fucking stop for a second. It's better to stop, evaluate where you're going, than move it. The American culture is all about action, 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 action. But most people aren't putting out actions. They're not proactive. They are reactive, right? They react to the situations that come to them instead of creating the circumstances in life that they want to see happen. So that's a little brief come up story. And from there, kind of the whole thing kind of emerged.
At some point, something has to fucking give. At some point, you just have to be sick and tired of being fucking sick and tired. Are you just like not disgusted with being average? Are you not disgusted with being like everybody else? Being mediocre, being average, being mundane? Now, if you want to live an ordinary life, walk around, do your 9 to 5, watch some Netflix or some Hulu at night, just chill, then that's fine. But if you want to be an extraordinary individual and you want to live an extraordinary life, you have to be able to, here, look at the dude sleeping. Look at the dude sleeping. That's most of you motherfuckers, bro. Most of you fucking clowns are out here sleeping your life away. No ambition, no desire, no true willpower to become extraordinary. If you want to be extraordinary, first you have to be disgusted with your current situation. And once you're disgusted with your current situation, you must commit to changing. If you want to live an extraordinary life, you must be willing to do extraordinary things. Do I make myself fucking clear?
Stress, my fellow glitches, is the silent killer. Let me repeat that. Stress is the silent killer. Everything is designed to cause stress in your life. A lot of you are out here chasing women, chasing relationships, chasing this, chasing that, and you don't realize that, yeah, it's flashy and cool in the beginning, but in the long run, my friend, you're just adding more headaches, more problems to your bag that are going to equate to more stress. But it doesn't stop there. And a lot of you want to be winners, a lot of you want to build businesses, a lot of you want to have your dream life, but you can't tame something like stress. And if you can't tame it, my friend, it's going to kill you. So you have to find ways to be able to get rid of this stress. If it's coming from within, first you have to address what's the source. Where is it coming from? Is it lack of finances? Is it my bad decisions? Is it the food that I'm inputting into my body that's causing brain to be completely inflamed? Therefore, everything that I tackle seems like it's harder, more insurmountable. It's a feat that you can never accomplish. That's the first thing. The second thing, and we see it now more than ever, it's on the rise, especially after this last pandemic. So we better embrace ourselves with community, especially us men. We have this macho, this bravadoism, this alpha that we don't want to mention or talk about what's going on inside. That's compressing us and it's slowly killing us. And our bodies are reacting to it. Us guys, we tend to reserve everything. We're like, I'm the man of the house, I can do this, I can do that, and we don't talk. And when I'm talking about talking, I'm not talking about blasting on social media for everybody to know, but talk to those people that you trust. And if you can't find somebody, look for a source of somebody or some sort of camaraderie where you can express this emotion. So you have to find ways where it's coming from. You have to find ways of how to get rid of it, which is talking to other people, and also finding strategies that are simple, like how do you boost your serotonin, which is a happy chemical. Perfect. Go do some push-ups, go do some sit-ups. My friend, you'll feel a lot better when you're cranking those out. Pain's hurting, you're cranking those out. The stress is going away. It's not there. Yeah, it'll be there after, but at least you're trying to deal with it. So we have to understand that everything around us is intentionally designed to make our lives more complicated, more stressful. I'm not saying stress and the things that life throws at you won't come. They will, but they won't seem as hard or as impossible that you can't tackle or handle yourself. Stress is everywhere. It's always going to be there. So if you can find ways to deal with it and to find ways to biologically trigger your body to release these happy chemicals, then you, my friend, will find ways that are more effective to deal with this silent killer.
Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful rainy evening here in Kuala Lumpur. As I travel across the map, as I venture in different places of the video game, I wanted to show you guys, even though it's raining, I'm willing to take a little bit of rain, a couple places in the map, especially the Petronas Towers, one of the most favorite, most beautiful places in the entire world. I had an interview this morning with Shopify, and one of the questions that the interviewee asked me today was, if you were starting from zero, there's many people that don't have access to high quality laptops, they don't have a ton of money, what is your advice? And I broke down my advice in three simple equations. In order for you to go from zero to hero, from peasant to king, in order for you to make it in your career, you need to be able to position yourself to win. And the way that you position yourself, because I understand that positioning may be vague, I want to break this thought down more clearly, is in three simple steps. In order for you to make money, in order for you to get to the next level of your career, in order for you to level up in your business, if you can master these three essential skills and positioning tactics, you are guaranteed to succeed. Now, the first one is you need to be the best at what you do. Most of you guys are in service-based industries, you have, agencies, whatever it may be, you may provide physical services. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the internet, but if you want to make money, if you want to stand out, you need to be the best at what you do. You do not want to be paid for being the cheapest. You want to be paid for being the best. The second point is you need to become irreplaceable. In a time and age where artificial intelligence is advancing, technology is advancing at massive proportions and at a speed that is unprecedented since the dawn of man, your ability to become irreplaceable in the marketplace will set you apart. I mean, just take Google, for example, take Facebook, for example, or all these super big organizations. They are in a situation where they are laying off massive talent. And the reason they're laying off massive talent, hear me out, is because these individuals are replaceable. You cannot come into the marketplace with ego and assume that you are the best. Assume that you are irreplaceable, because that is how the market destroys you. In order for you to get to the next level, you need to be the best at what you do, you need to be irreplaceable, and finally, you need to be on market trend. You need to make sure that your product and your service is in high demand. For you to make money, you need to master all three formulas. Now, what does it mean for my product to be in high demand? What does it mean for my product to be up to date? That means that you're not out here selling, I don't know, a Game Boy Color in a situation whereby we are now having a Nintendo Switch in the ecosystem. Why? Because it may be a good product, but it's outdated. It's no longer part of the time. So if you want to be irreplaceable, if you want to be the best at what you do, and if you want to be in a situation where your product or your service is in high demand, you are positioning yourself to win. So as you venture throughout your day, as you venture throughout your endeavors as an entrepreneur, as an aspiring entrepreneur, as you build relationships and networks, master these three positioning skill sets, these three positioning tactics, and I guarantee you that the world is yours for the taking. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this vlog. I really hope that you enjoyed yourself as much as I enjoyed creating this incredible content. And remember, Capital Club for $1 a day is opening this summer. The question is, will you be a part of it, or will you just be a witness of history in the making? The choice is yours, ladies and gentlemen.
I want to teach you an extremely important principle, a principle that had I learned long before I did, I would have tenfold my net worth, I would have tenfold my relationships, I would have tenfold my access to deal flow, and I would have tenfold my ability to put myself in the right rooms to succeed. And that principle is the power of positioning. There is power in how you position yourself. Now, many times people talk about hustling, grinding, working hard, waking up, working 19-hour days as the ingredient for success. If that was the case, then the construction workers or the plumbers or the garbage men, those would be the wealthiest people. But the reality is, hard work alone, hustle alone does not equate to success. Why is it that all these trust fund kids, why is it that all these sons of bankers and daughters of bankers or financiers, how is it that they get access to deal flows, access to IPOing companies and seed rounds and really good investment vehicles, and you don't? Are they any more intelligent than you? Well, potentially yes, but I could debate that the power and the position that they have gives them access to multiply at a faster rate than the average man, than the average woman. So the question is, in your career, how have you positioned yourself to win? Or you're always constantly hustling and trying to find your ability to make a quick buck, or thinking that working hours equates to productivity. I know a lot of motherfuckers that work a lot and produce nothing. Practice, train, so that when the opportunity comes through your positioning, you can actually deliver. You can actually follow through. You can win. You can succeed. Power is in positioning. How are you positioned?
Today I decided I had to do my hot and cold therapy like I always do, which usually consists of a hot and cold shower. I decided I'm going to apply the same therapy, but use the snow in the hot tub instead of hot water and cold water. So this is the power of mind over body. If you can tap into this, right? If you can tap into doing something that you don't want to do with your body, right? Because it's uncomfortable, like getting in the snow. I set my goal, regardless of how small it is, 10 seconds, 1 minute. If I say I'm going to do something, so hypothetically speaking, I said, you're going to get in the cold snow for 10 seconds. 10 seconds may seem small to you, but 10 seconds compounds. What I just did right there, regardless of how small it is, even if it's 10 seconds, I decided I was going to commit to something that was very difficult, like exposing myself to the cold. And I yield 2 rewards now. The benefit of cold exposure, which increases longevity, boosts energy and testosterone. But that is the internal satisfaction I get because I'm a man of my word. I said I was going to do something and I committed to it. Even if it was 10 seconds, the principle is commit to something, stick to it, and execute. And if the body feels weak and you'll feel like doing it, let the mind be strong. And if the mind is weak, let the body be strong. strong. At the end of the day, bro, if you want to get rid of imposter syndrome, set up some challenging goals that are going to be beneficial for you and execute on them. And at night, when you're sleeping on that pillow, you're going to feel like a total G because you committed to what you said you were going to do.
The only reason a warrior is alive is